Why doesn't a male birth control pill exist yet? Well, it's not like no one's tried. Take, for instance, the study by a Swiss doctor, Martha Vogeli, back in the 1930s, which found that if a man puts his testicles in water that's 115.7 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes a day for 3 weeks, he may experience 6 months of sterility. Hippocrates also apparently found success with a similar method in the 5th century BC. Around the same time Vogeli was nearly boiling testicles, a group of activists and chemists were in the process of developing the first female birth control pill, which became widely accessible to millions of women in the US. That was nearly 60 years ago, and yet there is still no male equivalent on the market. It seems like in that time, someone might have also come up with a similar option for men. Yet, men still only have 2 options. Most researchers involved in developing male contraceptives are quick to point out that human biology does pose a challenge in developing male birth control. Female contraceptives just have to prevent the release of 1 egg per month. Men, on the other hand, produce millions of sperm per day, which is a lot harder to control than just 1 egg. So, yes, we will concede, the biological differences in how male and female reproductive organs work do pose a challenge in creating effective options for males. But 60 years worth? That's not to say there have been no real attempts. There was a study where men were injected with hormones that suppressed their sperm counts once every 2 months. And it worked. But the male participants experienced severe depression and mood swings. And the whole project was stopped. Many women were quick to point out that they have been dealing with serious side effects from hormonal birth control for decades. But despite the outrage, a legitimate damper was put on the development of hormone-based birth control options for men. But that might all be about to change. A new hormonal birth control pill has recently shown serious promise, without the scary side effects. It would seem that the pill has reduced testosterone and other hormone levels enough to effectively prevent pregnancies in the female partners. It does this by reducing testosterone levels in the blood so significantly that the levels reach those experienced through castration, which blocks sperm production entirely. To counteract the low levels of testosterone, the pill also contains androgen-like drugs that are meant to mimic testosterone, so as to trick the body into thinking that its testosterone levels are normal, and therefore preventing any of the side effects that would come with actual castration. Before you get too excited, the study was very small. 83 men between the ages of 18 and 50 participated, and 9 of them did experience a decrease in their sex drive, which might be considered a serious side effect. Much more research and testing is clearly going to be needed before this pill hits the market. But this might be the best development so far. There are some other options in various stages of development, like Vaselgel, which is a polymer gel that is inserted into a man's vas deferens and is supposed to act like an easily reversible vasectomy. But it hasn't seen great results when tested in large mammals. Then there's Bimec SLV, otherwise known as the sperm switch, which is a tiny little gadget conceptualized by a German carpenter that would theoretically be implanted near the vas deferens so that a person could turn on and off his sperm flow. But this is still just a well-animated idea. And there's a pill based on a poisonous plant once used by warriors and hunters in Eastern Africa on the tips of arrows to stop a victim's heart. It is now thought that a synthetic, non-poisonous version of ouabain could potentially decrease sperm's motility, but it hasn't made it to human trial yet. Needless to say, there's a lot of options for male birth control that may or may not eventually be on their way to market. But every option, even the most promising ones, remains seriously up in the air. One of the major hurdles is a lack of funding from the pharmaceutical industry. Many believe that this is because drug companies assume there isn't enough interest in male birth control, or that because female birth control has been so popular and profitable, it doesn't make sense for them economically to also develop a male birth control pill. As in, why mess with success? The problem is, without it, the burden of preventing unwanted pregnancies falls completely on the women, as do the contentious politics of reproductive rights. And that doesn't seem particularly fair to either men or women. So, hey dudes, are the pharmaceutical companies right? Would you use one of the methods we talked about here if it became available? Let us know what you think in the comments.